All right. Yeah, so we are here. We're going to review Mick Mars' new album, The Other Side of Mars. It is, by the time you watch this, listen to it, it'll be out. So it's coming out, was meant to be coming out through Better Noise, who's Mötley's label, but considering that he's not in Mötley crew anymore, he's not with the label anymore. I know it's out on Orchard here in Australia, which is through Sony. So I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get physical copies pretty easy. Yeah, so I'll just, before we start talking about the tracks, I'll run through the fact that this was started like years and years and years ago. Originally started doing it with Michael Wagner, who actually produced or mixed Too Fast for Love. Then he redid it in Nashville, but he's had like Paul Taylor, who people might know from Winger, and he actually played in Alice Cooper, do co-writes with him. Jacob Bunton, who played with Steven Adler as well. Ray Lazia from Korn plays all the drums. And there's no bass player listed, so I'm going to actually just assume it's Mick.
There was some, I read some notes before about that actually.
Yeah.
He played bass. Yeah. Let me see if I can bring it up.
So it's 10 tracks, 9 vocal, 1 instrumental.
Yep.
So
Chris Collier was the bass player.
Chris Collier, there you go. Okay,
yep.
Cool. So people are going to sort of automatically go to any kind of Mötley Crüe reference they can find.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's best off if they don't and actually listen to the album. But if people were excited when he teased the tracks with Karabi a couple of years ago, let's just say they'll be excited by this. So Loyal to the Lie was the first single. It's also the lead-off track. So it's Jacob Bunton on vocals. It's funny that everyone assumed this was about Mötley, and it's actually not. What do you think of it?
Oh, it's a great song. I think he picked a really good song to kick off, like a real radio-friendly, high rotation type song. And yeah, it's a really, really good track to kick off. And I think, all the reviews I've heard of it so far have been positive, right? So
yeah.
absolutely.
It's actually written about cults.
Yep.
So he's done a lot of talking about that particular track because, of course, people assumed it was Mötley and the backing tracks and all that kind of crap.
Yeah, you can see that influence, the cult influence in the video too, right?
Yeah, and
yeah, yeah.
He I think he shot that video at his house, like in his backyard.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing, people got to realize that he's had these songs done for so long that just the title was enough to make people think it was about Mötley.
Yeah, and there's a couple more later on too, right? A bit like that too, with lyrics and stuff. So
yeah. And I'd be interested to know, and we'll touch on that with him when we talk to him. I'd like to know what his sort of percentage of lyrics were, because he's always just been known as a guitar player.
Yeah, right. He's got a lot of writing credits on Mötley stuff, right? But to what extent? I mean, he'd be best to talk about that too in depth, I'd say. But
yeah,
it'd be very interesting to see what sort of percentage he put on it for sure.
Yeah, and you're right. It's super radio friendly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and there's only probably 2 or 3 tracks that lend themselves to radio.
Yeah.
On the album, it's a very heavy and dark album, right, in a lot of places.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just not going to see airplay here.
No,
which is horrible because it's a really great track.
Yep.
Broken on the Inside's up next, and like to me, like that's just really angry, really heavy. It's just, not to use a comparison, but it's brand new version of the Mötley 94 record. It's like he used that album in some ways as a blueprint.
Yep.
For me, like of the tones he was getting, because while his tone was really pronounced in Mötley Crüe, I also think that he had to stay in his lane quite a bit, as far as I'm concerned, where here he doesn't.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no
Yeah.
holds barred. Yeah, it's got that heavy vibe, and that great. It's a great guitar solo in this one as well. And I had written down about the change ups and that real feel to the song, how it sort of adds, or it's sort of a bit all over the place, but it comes
Yeah.
together. So yeah,
And that's the
great.
thing, like it does go like 0 to 100 in a couple of bits there, doesn't it? Like it really,
Yeah,
there's some
yeah,
calm, like the dynamics are nuts.
yeah, yeah. It's a real sort of frenzy, yet mellow in some parts as well. It's really cool.
Yeah, and then you go to Alone after that,
Yep.
which is like a bit of a different change up straight away. Again, still Jacob on vocals. What are
Yeah,
your takes on that?
we talked about this the other day, right? How it's sort of how he put it in real early in the album. It's sort of like the power ballad type track of the album in
Yeah,
many sense. And as you said, it's very early in the album, so he's done it. It's been sequenced in a very interesting way, I think. So
yeah. It makes me wonder whether that's going to be a single.
yeah,
You
definitely.
know, either that or like or Memories to me, which is the other sort of. I'm not going to call Memories a power ballad at all.
No, it's a real
It's
piano, and
yeah, it's piano kind of bit bluesy, a real departure.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll get to that one in a minute. But one thing I found really interesting with Alone was there's no real distinctive guitar solo in the track. It's a very straight through, and nothing there that's sort of nothing of his trademark playing in terms of
yeah,
solos. It's just
yeah.
yeah,
It's kind of one of those ones, and he's always been that kind of guy that plays for the song.
yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't
true.
need to play guitar solo to stroke his ego. He's always been a riff kind of guy.
Mm.
So you're right. There's no sort of formula to the song.
Right, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
And then Killing Breed's up next, and if you read any interview that Mick's done, he raves about this song.
yeah, great song. Yeah, for sure. What have I got written down here? I can't even read my own writing. How good am I going? One thing I noticed in this track was the solo in this, while we're on it sort of was, it appears like it's just been dropped in
Right.
a real digital form. I don't know if you found that, but it fits in so well. It's sort of to listen to the track and then you just go, oh wow, that sort of feels like it just dropped in out of nowhere, that thing, and there it is. It's a real interesting way of
It is.
producing.
And it's funny you say that because I find throughout this entire album, he hasn't played it safe at all.
Yeah, yeah,
And
he's
there's
really
no like, oh, okay, here comes the solo. You
yeah,
know, you'll hear little runs, little lines, but he's also like let say like Ray Lazia
yeah,
shine on the drums. Like the drums are really powerful.
yep.
But yeah, I like Killing Breed's probably up there with my favorite tracks.
Yeah, it's pretty high on my list as well. What else? So I was going to say something about that track, was it? God, my writing's awful tonight. Might be. No, I'll find it later. Oh no,
We're,
that's later.
we're highly prepared
Yeah, we are
as usual.
definitely. Yeah,
Um, yeah, so Memories we touched on before, but Memories is up next. It's a piano based song. I get like a real kind of bluesy vibe. I don't see
yeah,
the power ballad side of things to it. What about you?
yeah. No, I think it's definitely not in that vein, right? It's I love the song completely. Love it. I think the vocals are great. I think he's done a really good job putting this together. And one thing I'd like to see if this was to come out as a single, maybe an acoustic version just with the strings and the orchestrated part as well, and
Yep.
just see what you could get out of that, because it could be something, completely left of center that could be a big thing for him if he did that.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if he's what else he's got sort of in the can for various versions of these songs because they probably have been living around for quite some time.
True. Yeah. Good
You
point.
know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like he talks about those Karabi tracks when people ask him. he alludes to the fact that someone else got involved to stop that from happening. So I don't know if it was on what side that was on. You can probably base your own judgments, but
Yep.
I'd love to see them. Like if he did so I'll use Corey Taylor as an example. So for Record Store Day, Corey Taylor is releasing he released CMF2, his album last year, and he's releasing his CMF2 sort of B-sides album, which he did for the first one. I'd love to see Mick do an expanded edition.
Yep.
And just see where these songs evolve from.
So
yeah, Right Side of Wrong is up next.
Yeah.
What are you thinking on that one?
Well, this is the second single, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
One, yeah, and it's a fairly short song too, right? There's one thing I've found with this whole album: it's very condensed, but still very full as well. Because this only runs in at 3:16, and it's a real straight ahead rocker, isn't it? It's got that vibe, and fits very well nicely into that second single high rotation type track. That he was probably looking for.
I like the fact that it's a little bit old school, but it's not dated.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, for sure.
It's same with like Ready to Roll is like the driving song.
Yeah, it's got that really cool intro too, right? To it,
Yeah.
that people going to enjoy. Yeah, for sure. And I think this lends itself to a live audience quite well too. Just with that chanting back and forth.
That's going to be a shame because I don't see him touring at all.
No. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be hard, right? Yeah.
Well, he's made it pretty well known that he may do one-offs, but his days of say people go, come to Australia. No.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
The long-haul flight would be too much. And he's really honest about it. Like he sees himself sitting in the studio creating more music, but the actual touring kind of thing, maybe he's based in Nashville. Maybe he could do a DVD.
Yeah.
And just do a live show, one off, and just slam it out.
Yeah.
That's probably where he's going to be at. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be unhappy that he's putting an album out and not going to tour, but he's 72 years old.
Yeah. Yep. And his disease has sort of really handicapped him in a bad way, right? So expect you just people get man.
If he's prolific enough now, he's got his own sort of label. I know in America it's like coming on 1313, which is his label as well. But imagine if he can knock out like an album a year.
How good would that be? Yeah.
Because he really doesn't have the time constraint to touring.
Yep.
So that's a positive. Undone. So that's got Brian or Brion, however you're going to pronounce it, Gamboa is the other vocalist. He did that in Killing Breed. I actually, while I love Jacob Bunton's voice and I've loved it, like all the stuff I've heard him do, this guy's vocals are really killer.
That was the one thing I had marked. He was really fantastic vocals. Was the one thing I had. The song, and no disrespect to Jacob, he's done a fantastic job as well. But this song sort of stands out with the lyrics, I think, for me.
Yeah. And people need to really do a bit of research into Jacob Bunton because besides singing for Adler and stuff, he's almost like a modern day Butch Walker, where he does a lot of pop writing, scoring and stuff like that. Like the guy is a freaking genius.
Yeah.
So it's something that people need to sort of factor in when they, when they do their research on the album and understand where Mick has found these guys. And so Jacob was introduced to Mick through Paul Taylor. They do a lot of work together. But I urge everyone to check out Jacob's writing credits. You probably need a cup of coffee and sit back. It's a long haul. He's really prolific. Then we hit Ain't Going Back.
Ain't Going Back. Now, this is the shortest track, right? Now, I love this song. This is probably my pick of the album, I think, for some reason.
Yep.
There's just little tidbits in there. There's a little echoey, I don't know if you picked that up in the vocals from about the 33 to 35 second mark. You'll probably have to go and have a listen now. Where it's sort of echoes around the place, and it's a really, really cool little tidbit in there that I don't know how they decided to do that, but it just adds a little dimension to the track, and the track's
Right.
vocals, yeah, really sort of shine because of that. But I think not only that, but it lends itself really well. Again, if there was ever going to be a live audience, it's a track that will come up very well with a live audience, because it's a real sing-along song, right?
It is, yeah. Now you
Yeah.
get to the final track, the instrumental, Noir. Now, I'm never a big instrumental guy, but this is actually really fucking cool. It's to the point. There's no, I'm going to say guitar wankery on it, even though he plays his ass off.
Mm.
It's far more atmospheric than worrying about, the technical shit.
Yeah. No, it's
Like,
good. Yeah, they've got that real blues feel to it too, right? That real LA blues feel, as you
yeah.
might say. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's funny that I actually would love to hear it as the opening track, like an intro to the album,
Interesting, yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
belt it into Loyals for the Lie.
Yeah, there you go.
That just for me, like you talk about the possibility of there being a live arena for these songs. That would be what I'd have as, like, not to have him play it live, but have it as the intro.
Yeah, just as like a backing track intro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you kick into the first song from there.
Cool.
Yeah, it's funny that I don't know what the total runtime is, but the album doesn't drag as far as I'm concerned.
I think there's only one song over 5 minutes, right? And then pretty much everything else is under 4 minutes from memory. So it's pretty like I said, condensed, but straight to the point, and full of nice delivery. So
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think if been waiting on this album for so long.
yeah.
It'll be something to bring up when we chat with him, is how many other songs there are in the can.
Yeah, that'd be cool to find out, right? For
Because
sure.
it makes me wonder whether he's got just like an absolute well of tracks done, but didn't. It's like he's almost deliberately released shorter tracks on purpose. Like, here they are, get it done, get it out, and then build from this as an opening album. Like, it's very, even the non-radio singles, to me, with the way rock music is, they're still very commercially accessible.
Oh, for sure, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nothing, to put a couple of those on a hockey arena and have them blasting out in between periods or whatever. So in between plays,
How many of these tracks you reckon he took to Mötley Crüe?
I've got no idea. You might have an idea, would you?
I don't. But there's tracks on there that I go.
There's a lot that sound Mötley Crüe-ish, isn't it? Yeah.
But it's almost like he's gone, oh wait, Vince will have to sing that. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, that last track with vocals on it, right? So ain't going back. That's a track you'd go, geez, I don't want Vince to sing that. That's just.
But it's also, you could imagine it being around the time of Feel Good, Primal Scream, Mötley.
Yeah, that real sort of late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would, when we talk to him, I don't really want to talk about Mötley Crüe, but I'd be interested to know if any of these were ever submitted.
Yeah, just how long they've been around for.
Well, apparently this album's been in the can, completed, mixed, and everything for a long, long time.
There you go.
And it's someone that works around the Better Noise music camp say, as it's coming out, it has been done like that for ages.
Wow. Okay.
But it kept getting pushed back because, Mötley went back on the road, and the split and all that kind of stuff. And, so that's why I wonder, with him not really able and wanting to play live, if this is just, there's going to be like a floodgate.
Yeah, big
material.
So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Like a Mick Mars box set.
Yeah, my thoughts on the studio stuff. So the more the merrier, right? For sure.
And
especially if it's as good as this quality. Like, it's just off the charts. This is a 9.5 out of 10. for
the
sure.
mix is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And to me, like, it's going to be different. Like, we get our advanced stream, and that's on computers and headphones and shit like that.
Yeah.
I can imagine this one on a CD, or even I think vinyl will be pretty warm sounding.
Yeah.
It's going to be loud on a physical disc. It's mixed really loud without it being distorted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing I love. Like, is there any tracks on there that you don't think belong in the sequencing?
No, I don't think there's any. I think if there's any, the reason I gave it 9.5, I'd say I would have loved to have heard the Karabi tracks. Obviously, I think if you could have a 12-track album, right, they'd be the two that I'd be obviously interested to put on there. And maybe just the sequencing a little bit. Like I thought Memories might have been better off sort of down at 8 or 9 or somewhere to just give it that mellow finish, maybe.
Yep.
But that's not for me to decide, right? So it's all good.
Yeah, I don't know. Still, like, I'd love to see the instrumental maybe chopped, like still leaving its full version as track 10.
Yeah,
but like have like a prelude kind of thing to the first track, and then it closes out in its full form.
Okay, yeah.
There's just something about it that screams intro to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it would also give the listener a false sense of security too.
Yeah.
Like if they hadn't heard a single or anything, and you pop it in for the first time, that instrumental's there, and then it rips into Loyal to the Lie, you're gonna sort of be taken aback.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
it plays out. Sure. Yeah.
It's a great album. It's just people are gonna have to really forget about the band he was in.
Oh, totally right. Yeah. You can't compare. Yeah. But I mean, if they're looking for that Mötley, obviously with Kiss and whatever, everyone's looking for that sort of album from Gene or Paul back in the day or whatever when they released new stuff. If they're looking for that Mötley, they're going to sort of get it in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just with different singers, right? So,
yeah, look, you can't take away the fact he was their guitar player and he was a huge part of their sound. But this just proves to me a lot that I think he was restricted.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially albums like Generation Swine, which he hated. Whereas you think about the 94 album, where everything was just free form and
just do whatever you want.
Yeah. And that's what this reminds me of, where someone's just gone on, do what you need to do.
Yeah, it's definitely delivered in spades in this one, that's for sure.
What's your pick for next single if they go with it?
I'd like to see Memories. I think that could actually break radio. I really do. That could do something special. I think it's just got that vibe to it, and having a ballad there could be something different. If it was something non-balladish, I think Ain't Going Back, I think, is the next pick, radio friendly wise anyway. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna, like as usual, I can't fucking just keep things in a normal lane. But it's so hard to break these days. So for Memories to break, being he's in Nashville, I think he needs to do like a CMT crossover.
Yeah, okay.
With a country artist, like a female country artist, or
there you go, with like and the spoons.
Like Jelly Roll or something, just someone that's relevant and country. Would just slay on that song as a crossover.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So you'll be hearing this pretty much release day. There are plans for us to have a chat with Mick. Hopefully it all comes to fruition. I wasn't even going to mention it, but I've probably mentioned it about 4 times now. So it's all locked in, and you'll all be the first to know when it happens. But let's just say some point next week, we should be having some time with him.
Nice.
So leave some stuff in the comments below if you actually want to ask me for a question, and if it fits in with what we're going to be talking about, we'll be sure to let him know who it's from. And
keep pushing the record for dual cases.
Dual cases. Don't fuck it.
Yeah.
But also, when we prepare for these episodes, we go back and forth quite a bit. So Rod actually brought up the idea of maybe looking at some book reviews on Here to Zen and getting into that. So we don't know where that's going to go. Like, I'd love to chat about music biographies and stuff, and maybe some few different other things. So if you've got any ideas, again, in the comments.
Yeah, if anyone wants to jump into a book review or something as well while we're doing one,
Yeah. And, for those that are on YouTube, do the like, the share, make sure you hit the notification, all that kind of stuff. Get on socials or on Facebook. We are on Instagram, and I think there's one of those ex-Twitter things around. But we're leaning more, like, we're on TikTok as well. We're bringing some more exclusive content to TikTok. Again, don't be afraid to leave a comment. We've got a few little comments about our Ace review, which was really cool. And one of the performers on Ace's album, Joey Casada, jumped in and left us a comment there. So thanks, Joey. We hope you enjoy that episode. And Ace's album is actually dropping the same day as Mick's. So the two ex-guitar players can duel it out for sales on the day. Ace is just about to release Cherry Medicine as well as the video. I reckon we're imminent to another single from Mick, because he's done really well getting them out, and the videos are really interactive. I would like to see a video where he's just literally not a performance video, but I'd like to see him not be a character in it and be a guitar player.
Yeah, something.
Because in the videos, he's sort of been a bit more character based. I don't know if you think that too.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like a horrific horror movie, in a good way, though, right?
It's very sort of Blair Witchy.
It is, yeah, very much so.
Yeah. The Blair Mars Project.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I love to see a performance style video or some kind of AI animated kind of thing. I think that kind of animated vibe would be good for something like Ain't Going Back.
Definitely. Yeah,
that'd be a bit of fun. But we'll close out this one, and thanks for tuning in. We made this really quick. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we actually have very, very busy lives. So between families and life, when we get a little bit of time to slot something in, we do. So not as long as what we normally do, but again, there's so much coming down the pipe at the moment for us. You'll hear all about it as we hear about it, pretty much. But we really want you to leave comments on what you want to see us do, because there's so much out there to pick from. We need to know what people are going to want to look at, listen, watch, all of it. So what's on the cards for a book review, Rod? Where are you heading for number one?
I think the book I just finished, right? I posted that on Facebook the other day, the Rod Willis book, Ringside, which, for those who don't know, Rod Willis, obviously the Cold Chisel manager for, well, right up until 2009, basically. So from the mid-70s. So that was a really good read. So that'd be one I'd like to review for sure. Definitely.
I better start reading.
Yeah, well, you don't have to read that. We can do two different books if you want to. The same.
Well, no, because
just reading, right?
Yeah, because I'd like to actually know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, right, okay,
yeah. And some friends of mine are here on tour at the moment, and they were both reading Geddy Lee's book on the plane.
Yeah,
and that's one that I really want to get into. And some of their comments really shocked me. Like, I'm not a big Rush fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big Rush fan either. Yeah,
but the one comment I got was, I didn't realize how many drugs they did. So I'm like, I've really got to check this out now, because they all seemed kind of nerdy.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're big potheads and all, but apparently that's even just tipping the surface.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's fun. The Rod Willis book, you look at the guys in Cold Chisel a bit now and go, oh, a bit like that way. Oh, it's sort of okay.
You know, Barnesy was never shy to hit the drink pretty hard.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was quite into the powder and stuff as well. By the look of it. Yeah,
Well,
that's quite well detailed in that book.
does he talk about Swanee then, if that's the case in it?
He gets
Barnesy's brother.
Yeah, he gets a couple of mentions in the book, but not huge. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Swanee wasn't shy either.
No, definitely not. Yeah. So.
Well, you know, Barnesy's not like that anymore. He's just had his heart fixed again.
Yeah, yeah.
Go Jimmy. He's just announced his return to the stage.
Yep. Yeah, not long. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'm playing a pretty interesting gig at the Maldives too, by the sound of it. So.
Really?
You haven't heard about that?
No.
So it's him, Ian Moss, Kate Sobrano, and oh God, who else? Troy Casadale. And they do their own shows. So you pay for like $5,000 or $10,000, depending on what package you go on.
Yeah.
You do meet, so then you get to go to the gigs and all this. Yeah, Delta Goodrum just finished one not long ago as well for a bunch of artists as well.
What a cool place to see some gigs.
Yeah, some really interesting. They come up on my Facebook all the time. Like, hey, do you want to go to this? And, okay, we'll look at that. So,
Maldives, interesting.
Yeah.
All righty, we are out of here, everyone. Again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to us quickly babble some shit about this amazing new album. But we really want to see more comments. The more comments we get, the more we know where we're going to head for future episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Rod. Thanks for your time. We'll reconvene like next week and have something else to talk about.
Yeah, get your book out and get moving.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.